Now, history will be made later on today when Denmark's longest-serving head of state will abdicate, handing the throne to her son.
She's Queen Margrethe II, pardon me, and she's the first Danish monarch in 900 years to abdicate. She's been on the throne for 51 years.
Well, our royal correspondent Cameron Walker has all the details.
I've decided that now is the right time. On the 14th of January 2024, 52 years after I succeeded my beloved father, I will step down as Queen of Denmark.
Denmark's 83-year-old Queen's shock announcement took millions of Danes by surprise. For the first time in 900 years of Danish history, the monarch will abdicate after half a century as the country's longest-serving head of state. Queen Margrethe and Queen Elizabeth were distant cousins, both descending from Queen Victoria. And in 2022, she welcomed our future Queen, Princess Catherine, to the royal palace, who was on a fact-finding mission for her early years' work.
It's wonderful to see them when it's on stage and to see them using the costumes and the scenery that I've designed.
Queen Margrethe is admired for her tactile and creative personality.
We really like what she stands for, how she represents Denmark. It's really nice to see that it goes beyond the politics and so on.
But recent years have not been smooth sailing. Her Majesty removed the Prince and Princess titles from her grandchildren born to her second son. She hoped it would help them shape their own lives without the pressure of royal titles. But the spare wasn't happy. Prince Joachim publicly spoke out against his mother's decision. Remind you of anyone? It's not just Prince Harry who's talked about family dramas. In February, the Queen had extensive surgery on her back. Her long period of recovery meant her eldest son, Crown Prince Frederik, took on her duties. Today, he does so permanently as Denmark's new king. His wife and new queen, Australian-born Princess Mary, has thrilled Aussies down under.
What a great ambassador for Australia.
Proud of her. Yeah, terrific, it's lovely. Terrific news. She deserves it. She's lovely.
She carries herself extremely well.
I'm very proud. I'm very excited. I think it's wonderful. Yeah. I think she'll make a great queen.
At 18, Prince Christian will become Denmark's heir to the throne, taking over his father's role as the Crown Prince. Prince Frederik will ascend the throne this afternoon after his mother signs a declaration of her abdication. Cameron Walker, GB News.
Well, let's bring in royal correspondent and writer Michael Cole. Good morning, Michael. This is fascinating because for many, many years, we were all speculating whether Queen Elizabeth would ever do this, abdicate, and she never did. She kept on till the very end. But Queen Margrethe clearly just sees it as a job. She wants a bit of retirement.
Yes, a great and glorious day, of course, ahead of us in Copenhagen when it gets started with carriage processions, royal salutes, marching soldiers and bands playing. It will be a great day. And as you say, and Cameron just made the point, it is quite rare in Denmark for an abdication to take place. Of course, we've had one much more recently, abdication of King Edward VIII on the 10th of December 1936, which, of course, inevitably meant that the Queen would become Queen, the late Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, because her father then had to take over from the abdicating Edward VIII. It's a wonderful thing that's going to happen today because the succession happens when Queen Margrethe II progresses to the Christiansborg Palace, which is the centre of power in Denmark, and she signs the declaration of abdication. And then the new king is proclaimed from the balcony by the Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen. Now, Mette Frederiksen said that when she was a young politician, she was anti-monarchy, but being in contact with the Queen over the many years that she has, she's become a monarchist and seen the value of it. And now you see Queen Margrethe. I had the pleasure of meeting her, and I have to tell you, she's an utterly charming person. She had a sort of charm, if people remember people from the past who we really liked, like Joyce Grenfell. She had that one lovely, almost slightly charming, goofy approach. I was the director of public affairs at Harrods, and we had a Danish promotion on, and she came to open it, so I had to meet her. And I said to her, Your Majesty, I'm afraid I have to tell you, you cannot smoke in the store, because she was a chain smoker. And she said to me, oh, that's all right, I know. She said, but I don't mind because I owe everything to Harrods. And I said, do tell me how. She said, when I was at Cambridge studying archaeology, she said, I used to get on the train completely alone, no detective to guard me, anonymously, and I would go to King's Cross, get on the tube, the Piccadilly Line, to Knightsbridge, and I would meet in the banking hall in Harrods my boyfriend, Henri, from the French embassy nearby, and we would meet there. That was our secret rendezvous. We got married, and Henri became Prince Frederick. He took a Danish name and Danish nationality. And of course, it's their son, Frederick, who is going to be, Frederick X, the new king today. So in a way, we've all got some connection with this great event. And of course, the abdicating queen was related to the British royal family. And interestingly, she will retain a role. She will be a regent when the king is abroad, because he's also the king of the Faroe Islands and Greenland. She will step in and then take over the role of monarch again. So it's going to be a very interesting new set of circumstances. And you see, you're not alone, Stephen, because the king also couldn't find a razor blade today. You saw his face fur there, and I don't think that's going to come off when he becomes king.
No, well, no one can tell him to. Unlike my mother, she won't be able to insist when he's the king. Mind you, he has got a little bit of a
reputation.
Yes, a bit of a party boy.
Well, there's been a few stories in the paper when he was in Spain, perhaps getting a bit too close to somebody who was rather female and attractive. I don't know the truth or otherwise of that. But it is interesting that the marriage and there we see Queen Mary, and that's an earlier day when they had their children. She, as has been said, Australian born, but she has very strong Caledonian, Scottish roots as well. So we have a great interest in that. And of course, the Danish have a great interest in us. And it's always, whenever there's a poll of the happiest people in the world, Denmark always comes at the top. It's a very happy land, and the people there see the value of the monarchy. And they certainly adored Queen Margrethe, who's stepping down today. She had a great charm. And was universally popular. I think there was something like 73, 78%, something like this, approval rating for her. And she earned it over the years. She succeeded quite young. I remember on one occasion she had a terrible fall in public down a set of stairs. It really looked extremely painful. And I don't know whether that set up the back problem, but she had to have surgery. But she decided after 53 years, I think it was, that the younger generation should take over. But that, of course, is not the British tradition. As far as the House of Windsor is concerned, the abdication, the A word, is the no word, because they would say that caused all the problems they had. And the late Queen Mother would always tell you it was because of the abdication of 36, when an ill-prepared Duke of York had to take over as King George VI. The Queen Mother felt very strongly that hastened the death of her husband at a very early age. Of course, I think senior service cigarettes also played a big part, because lung cancer was what killed him. But that's not the tradition, because in this country, when you saw our coronation, the coronation of King Charles III, all of that stuff with the holy oil from the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem, the anointing, all of that, or the whole medieval thing, because the king, our king, was not making a contract with the prime minister or with the people. He was making a contract with God. That's the divine right of kings. That's what that was all about. And as far as they're concerned, the British monarchs don't break those vows made only to God, except in the case of Edward VIII.
Fascinating, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. Michael, lovely to talk to you as ever. Thank you. Love the story about Queen Margrethe meeting her boyfriend in Harrods.
Very nice.
Love it. Yeah.
Very nice. Most of us just meeting a calf in many Harrods. But nice, though. Yeah, definitely more of the people, just in the sense that they don't have the same bodyguards or the same.
No,
you sort of get on with it a
isn't
bit
it?
more.
That? Yeah.
Because it's a much smaller nation.
Yes, I suppose. Yeah, but clearly they value their monarchy still.
Oh yes,
and that's rather nice, isn't it?